All right. All right. It looks like we are live. So all of my curse words are going to stop now. And go to.
We're not live yet.
Yeah. Well, we're streaming on OBS. I'm checking to see if we're live on our channel yet.
Okay, we're up now. All right, we're up.
Okay. So, Matt, you don't want to try to troubleshoot your volume?
I found it.
Where was it?
It was that little gear thingy. It was in there.
The settings.
The settings icon?
Whatever.
Turn up.
Oh, see, Matt's the perfect case for like Google Assistant or Siri. Siri, please turn up the volume on my phone.
Your PC
louder.
might actually do that. He could probably do that with his PC.
I'm not politically correct. All right.
That has nothing to do with it.
He's telling me to be PC.
Oh, wah, wah. That was horrible.
It was a good dad joke. I liked it.
Nah, leave that off. That wasn't that good. We haven't started yet, have we?
Oh yeah, we have.
Yeah, we have.
Oh yeah, we have.
Too late.
Well, we are live. Perry G's already in. Perry G.
Why would you ask?
Was
why would
there
you
a
ask
30-minute?
that?
When have we ever sent out a 30-minute notice? If anything, there's a notice. I don't know, 2 minutes after the show starts that says we're not going to do the show. Matt, I just got a text message from a buddy in the industry. It says, "Hey, Cody, do you know any good PMs out there? I'm in need of a good PM."
Did you say I know the best?
Don't know any good ones, but I know the best ones. Right?
That's right.
I have a real shitty one I can get you in contact with.
Log into YouTube right now. You can see what you get.
Jared, you might have a job offer coming pretty soon if this guy locks in.
Look, I don't know a ton about, HVAC project management, but from what I can tell from the way you accomplish it, I can probably do it.
Oh, that was the best. That is the post clip. That's the post clip right there. Judging by the fact that you said I found the volume on that gear thingy, that gives me an indication that I can do your job.
And then follow that up with, I'm a project manager.
Project manager. Hi, Tim. Bye, Tim. All right. You guys ready?
What do we need to send out notices? We're on within the same 5-minute window every Monday night.
Oh,
right?
I know.
Perry G. Some people send out notices.
I hear some channels actually send out notices. Some channels are decent and know what they're doing. We can't even get the audio to work half the time.
Yeah, other channels or other podcasts are discovering what gears mean on the screen.
Okay. All right, F it. We're ready. You ready?
Waiting on you, bro.
3, 2, 1.
Wait.
3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. It is just after 6:30 on Monday night. Matt has figured out where the volume button is, and he's got his son's headphones on. And we have Jared Oldham from Backroad Exploration.
As prepared as ever.
Jared Oldham from Backroad Exploration on the show with us tonight. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to be on with you guys. I've been listening to the podcast for years. Back in the day when Cody was only doing interviews and I was still listening. So
yeah, look, that's not going to get you any points here. That makes us think that you are probably there's something wrong with you. And I don't know that
bad
we
taste.
should be. Yeah, horrible taste. And
You're on the show already. You don't need to kiss ass anymore.
question,
You made it on, dude.
question all of your life decisions at this point. But thank
It's
you.
all downhill from here.
Yeah,
You've reached the pinnacle.
Well, so you know how we were just talking about how Jose got to see a little bit of teaching behind the scenes, and now he doesn't want to be a teacher. This is the behind the scenes for Jared, and he's going to be like, dude, it was a shit show.
I've already started the timer, the countdown.
Yeah. Yes.
So man, thank you for coming on the show. For those that don't know, Jared has a YouTube channel. He's got Backroad Exploration on YouTube, Backroad Exploration on Instagram, and BR Exploration on Twitter. Do you do much on Twitter, or is it just Instagram and YouTube?
Pretty much just Instagram and YouTube. Every once in a while I'll put something out on Twitter, but I think it's kind of mostly just watching news. I usually use it just to follow different, automotive news, stuff like that.
And
to start fights.
to start rants. Well, that's yeah. I don't think any of us are doing anything on Twitter. Twitter's dead. So tell me, where are you at in the world right now? Actually,
so I am in Utah. I'm in a city called Highland, which is just like 20 minutes or so south of Salt Lake. And my family, we've been here. My wife and I and kids, we've been here for 10 years.
Okay, so where's that distance-wise from Moab?
Probably 3.5 hours. So it's not too bad. Maybe even 3. Just depends on how fast you're driving. In the Jeep, it's 3.5. If I was, if I was in the Frontier, it'd probably be 3. But
You could have been
2
there
hours
a couple of
45.
days ago.
Yeah. That's I'm jealous. Moab is absolutely gorgeous. Utah in general is beautiful from what I've seen of it. You said 10 years. Where'd you come from before that?
Mostly here. I've lived also in Florida and in Arizona, but I
Okay.
grew up here in Utah.
All right. Were you so you grew up in Utah but moved around and then ended back in Utah?
Yeah.
Dirt Minions is saying that I was out searching for the Foo Fighters shoes. Dude, I already searched for them and they don't have my size. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? These Foo Fighters shoes?
No, continue, please.
Well,
Nobody cares.
Who are the Foo Fighters?
oh, I'm sorry, we're breaking up. I can't hear your audio.
Yay.
Yes, so the Foo Fighters coordinated with Vans and made Foo Fighters high top Vans, and they're limited edition. And I already tried to buy some, and my size is out, and I'm not going to buy some that don't fit. So, so Utah was that? So the Utah, Utah's a mecca for off roading. Was that part of why you ended up back there, or was it more for family and because that's where your roots were?
Kind of a lot of everything. Definitely, it's if you're into anything outdoors, Utah is about as good as it gets. It's like California in the sense that like you have everything. Otherwise, we don't have a beach, and that would be cool. But if you're into skiing and snowmobiling, you have tons of snow sports that you can do, and then also you have anything off road you want to do. And like everyone kind of thinks of like Moab as like the main attraction, especially if you're not from Utah. And don't get me wrong, Moab is absolutely incredible, and it's one of the best things about living in the state. But there's so many other amazing places to explore and off-road that I can't remember what percentage, but I think Nevada is the only state that has a higher percentage of state-owned, BLM land.
Really?
And so there's tons and tons of land in Utah that you can just go out and explore, camp, anything you want to do. So to me, that's a huge factor in why, we want to stay here.
And mountain biking, a lot of mountain biking in Utah.
Oh,
right?
God.
There's a ton of mountain biking, and unfortunately for Matt, I'm one of the people that likes the mountain biking content that you guys do.
All right, I gotta log out, guys.
Well, I
Matt's
figured
finding me on
interference.
Instagram to block me now.
I had already gone down the Foo Fighters.
I'll figure out how to get onto Instagram, and then I'll figure out how to block you. That's how.
I figured I had already started down the Foo Fighter path. I would just take it full derail and go mountain biking as well. So you do mountain bike? Is that what is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I do. I used to mountain bike a ton, and then I kind of got out of the habit of it. And over the summer this year, I was just like, just between working from home and stuff, and like Utah's been a lot more open than other states, but still, like, I'm still working from home, want something to do, and there's a ton of mountain biking trails, single track all around me. I live like 5 minutes from American Fork Canyon, which has some of the best single track in Utah, and so it's amazing for hiking, dirt biking, mountain biking. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to get a mountain bike. And, luckily I haven't broken any bones yet, but it's been awesome.
Well, on that, I went riding this weekend, and the cool thing is while riding in the mud, I jammed my shoulder. The cool thing is it's my left shoulder, so we'll see how this one heals up. But
that one was due.
There's a good chance I've got something in some more surgery in my future. I thought it was going to be a hip this year. I really thought it was going to be a hip this year, but
it's still early.
It's like we're only a month in. You got a lot of time to break lost stuff.
It's February 1st only. To relax.
First day of February, you're going to be you'll be in a wheelchair by the end of the year.
It's a disease. Well, between me trying to kill myself on a bike and my wife trying to kill me with COVID, it's gonna be tough. Trying to get through the first 2 months of the year is gonna be tough. So the off-roading part of it. So was that part of you growing up, or is that like when did you get into off-roading, and was Utah a part of that?
Yeah, so I grew up in the power sports industry, kind of like, some of you guys have having, ATVs, dirt bikes, stuff like that. And so I've always been into that aspect of it. And then I was the beneficiary of, it was kind of a midlife crisis. My dad was like, hey, I'm like in my 40s or 50s. And he's like, I've always wanted a Jeep. And so I was like at the age to get a car. And so I'm like, okay, and he's like, well, let's go look at some Jeeps. And so we were looking at like some real garbage. Like they were.
Well, you said Jeep, right?
Like,
you said
you
said Jeep.
Yes, like yeah, exactly, yeah. And they were just, and it was like really good because he's looking at these things and he's like, this is not what I wanted, So one day he wakes me up and he's like, hey, let's go down to the dealership. And I'm like, okay. So we like go wandering down there. And he's like, what do you want to try? And like, I knew enough about him. I was like, I want to try that yellow Rubicon right there. So we tried like the nicest one you could get. So then after we tried it, then you go try like the Sport and the X, which was like a model they did like in the early 2000s that sucked. And so he's like, dude, you totally duped me. This was like a con. You have us drive the nicest one. Then we go check out the crappier ones. And so anyway, so he bought that and it was for him, but I got to drive it a ton. So I drove it all over the place. And for a while we moved down to Arizona. And so I was actually in the Lake Havasu.
Oh, okay.
And so I was just wandering around in the desert all over there. Like I've been out to the, the bar out there and a bunch of the cool stuff that they've got out that you guys went and did in your Parker trip. But that kind of is what got me into it. And then as I got older and I still have ATVs and stuff like that. And I like it, but I want to do stuff with my kids and I want them to come, and just having like 8 quads or, a bunch of dirt bikes and stuff's a little bit not as feasible as like, hey, let's go pick up a Jeep and we can take the family and do a bunch of off-roading and stuff like that. So while I still like the power sports stuff and I still do it, mostly it's kind of morphed into this. And I always grew up camping and things like that, but really like the more like, off-roading, overlanding type stuff has come in the last, 6-7 years.
Okay. And you said, I'm sorry, my daughter came in here. Press, come here.
No worries.
She came in for some reason for the first time in 160 episodes. She came in. Did you say that you had kids? You were taking kids on these trips with you?
Yeah, I've got 3 kids. So I've got an 8-year-old.
You're like 21 years old, dude. Look at you. How do you have 3 kids?
I wish I was 21. And then we have a 3-year-old as well. So 8, 6, and 3. So the boys have gotten really good. They go with me on, I would say, probably half of my trips.
Okay.
And then we're just getting Charlotte into going on trips with us. She's kind of pulling a Presley on us, and that sometimes she doesn't like to keep whatever's in her stomach while we're, doing our trip. So I've got like a barf bag that I just keep like in the seat behind.
Dramamine, dude.
Yeah, a bag of Benadryl.
Yeah.
Don't do Dramamine.
In fact, in like September, we went down and did a trip we took the whole family. We went down to Moab and did Long Canyon and a couple of the other really cool, kind of iconic, beautiful scenic routes there. And we're driving through Spanish Fork Canyon, and she's like crying, and I'm like, oh man, she's sick. So I have my wife drive, and I got in the back seat in the middle on the Jeep, and I'm 6'2". I do not fit there. I'm like like this, and I'm like holding the barf bag just in case she's gonna throw up going through the canyon. But luckily we made it without any trouble.
Well, that's I hope she grows out of it. Again, hold on, I don't know what's going on. Why are we? Can you close the door for me, please? Thank you, baby. 160 episodes today. She decided to come in. But the boys, did the boys have that same problem growing up?
No, they don't have it at all. And she's been doing pretty good. So we've been getting her out on more trips, which has been nice. But when it gets real windy, it's like bumpy doesn't bother her, but when it gets real windy. So when we were going through the canyon, there's a lot of zigging and zagging and stuff. And that gets a little bit like, ugh. So she's been getting pretty good.
I just saw a video of motion sickness glasses. Have you guys seen these? Seriously,
No.
Look them up. So they're just like glasses frames. What doesn't look like they have any lenses, and they've got 2 circles here and 2 circles here. So it looks like 4 circles across your face, and the circles are filled with water. So as your head turns, the water stays level and it changes the horizon. So you always have a horizon, and it's supposed to eliminate motion sickness. And I just saw the meme of it, the video of it the other day, and I'm totally going to buy a set to see if it works for Presley.
From your description, I was getting nauseous, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You
I was
look-
getting sick
you look
just
like an
describing
idiot.
it. I was like, no,
You look like a total idiot with them on, but like people are all watching their phone, because some people get car sick when they're trying to look at their phone in the car. They're all reading their books and watching their phones in the car. Everything's all cool, but that's not. Would not work. See, Adam is saying that his wife and daughter would use those. I'm totally going to buy a set. I'm going to find them online and buy a set. So when the boys go,
They'd have to be made by Oakley or some fancy.
brand. No joke. They look like they were made by the same company that made your headphones.
Sweet. So they're blue.
Play school. Would the boys go with you? Like, do you go on multi-day trips or day trips or overnights, or how often do you, like, when you go out, what kind of trips do you go on?
Yeah, it's almost always multi-day. It's typically only a couple of days, so I don't work. I work 4/10s, so I don't work Fridays. So a lot of times we'll peel off Thursday after work. We'll camp Thursday night, Friday night, and then come back late Saturday.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's almost always a multi-day trip. We'll do some day trips just like in local places up the canyon to do a little bit more of like your kind of traditional wheeling, where you're kind of pushing the vehicle a little bit more and it's less like exploration oriented. But my personal favorite is just to get out and, get into as remote of a place as I can get and do some exploring. Often we'll jump out and do a little bit of hiking and, things like that to kind of check it out. And Utah has a lot of really cool mining history, so
yeah.
a lot of the trails in Utah are, lead to different prospecting places and things like that, especially like in Utah's West Desert. And so there's a lot of cool stuff there to just, kind of go and see. Almost all the mines are all blocked off. You can't like go inside of them because they're not super safe, but it's cool to kind of learn some of the history of it. And there's a lot of old ghost towns and stuff out there where, they've had little booms and busts and you'll go out there and there'll be a bunch of outbuildings and, just out in the middle of nowhere. And you're like, and you go and research it and it'll be like 800 people lived here for like 3 years. And then now there's nothing.
But all that history is super cool. Like, I mean, even if you can't get into the mines or it's, you just see the foundation of those old mining towns or whatever, just like to your point, you go there and think about the fact that at some point there was a whole group of people that made their life and living in this dirt and now they're gone. Like just,
I like to think about like in the future after Armageddon, all the Thunderdomes that'll rise up around those old towns out in the middle of nowhere, or the caves that, the cave people. There's probably already cave people in there. I mean,
Hills have eyes, man.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But would you go to Utah after the Armageddon though? After the apocalypse? I don't know, dude, because it's so vast and dry, and although you do get snow in the higher elevations, I don't know. I don't know if Utah.
The only thing I know about Utah is like beer doesn't have the same.
There's like
content.
dry counties, right?
and that's enough for me.
That's out. He's like,
if we're post-apocalypse, I don't know that 7-Eleven is going to sell the beer no matter what.
Here it's talking a lot of exercising and hiking, riding bicycles, and like exercise type related stuff, and then like not very good beer. That's not saying a lot for me for Utah, but maybe I'm wrong.
Oh man, you need to do a Trail Chasers run from Goblin Valley
From
to
Utah?
Cathedral Valley.
Wait, an actual run? Like
No, yeah.
Because it'll go from
No, not a
it'll go from Goblin Valley to 4 feet away from Goblin Valley. That'll be the extent of the run.
You're giving us too much credit, Cody.
Oh, shit.
From Goblin Valley to Cathedral Valley, it's some of the most beautiful scenic off-roading you will ever do, and you'll like that, Matt.
Okay. I'll take your
And
word for it.
you can bring your beer from California. They don't check it at the
Oh, okay.
at the port, so.
There we go.
Goblin Valley, though.
Sounds like I could be like a beer alcohol runner there.
Eastbound,
like,
down,
keep bringing-
loaded up and
exactly.
trucking. Goblin Valley, that sounds like a cool place. Tell me about Goblin Valley.
So it's a state park in Utah, and it's amazing. You'll have to Google hoodoos is what they're called, but they're basically these rock formations that they kind of like go up like this, and there's an entire valley of all of these amazing rock formations, and so you can get out and kind of hike around in it and stuff like that. And it's really these hoodoos are all around the state, but this is like a huge concentration of them.
So think about like Wile E. Coyote background. That's what a hoodoo is. A hoodoo looks like a giant alien dropped turds and it just stacked up on top of each other. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And so where in the state is Goblin Valley compared to where you're at?
It's about 2.5, maybe 3 hours. So basically if you're going down, if you're headed towards Moab, you'll basically split. So it's about an hour and a half from Moab. It's not far from Moab. And so a lot of people will go, they'll check it out, and then you can go over to Moab, or if you want to go the other direction and go to Cathedral Valley is part of Capitol Reef National Park, which is like, there's one section of Capitol Reef that like the buses and stuff go through where all of the tourists are. And the rest of it is one of the most unexplored, unappreciated national parks in Utah. Cause like, if you go to like Arches is amazing. It's beautiful, but it's like, it is wall to wall people.
Yeah.
And the trails, you're all on top of each other. So one of the things I love about Capitol Reef is there's sections of Capitol Reef where you could drive for 50 miles off road and not see another person. That's not uncommon at all. And so it's really, really cool. And that's one of the things I love about Utah in general is there's sections that are so remote. I did a trip a couple of years ago along the Pony Express Trail. So this is part of like the real Pony Express where cowboys ran mail.
Wow.
And it goes, most of it through like the United States is just all paved or non-existent anymore. But there's a section in Utah that runs from Utah all the way to Nevada through Utah's West Desert. So I did 200 plus miles off road and only saw one other vehicle the whole time. And it was right as I was getting into Nevada.
Oh, wow. That seems
so it's super, super remote.
And is, because you think about Arches and Moab and some of these other canyon lands and all that stuff. Like you said, I'm imagining wall to wall people, tourists just coming in. But outside of those, is off-roading fairly remote? I mean, isolated, like you were just talking about. Like, are there other places? For example, like we go to Big Bear or we go to Ocotillo Wells. We go to these big places. But even like the smaller places, Cleghorn or Lytle Creek, we still run into people. It's it doesn't really matter where we go. There's not many places we go where we're like, dude, we're not going to see a car for 2 days.
Yeah, it's definitely there are places that are really remote like that. It's getting less and less that way just because so many people are getting into off-roading. So that's good and bad. But what I kind of hope, and something that I want to come out of the channel is like, there's so many amazing places. Like, we don't necessarily have to go to these same 3 trails that everyone wants to go to. And if you're willing to drive a teeny bit further, you can get into some really remote places where you're going to run into way less people. And like I said, like, I don't know, like visitor numbers, but if you're outside of the main area of Capitol Reef and you're over where Cathedral Valley is, like they have these 2 monoliths is what they're called, which are these huge mountain, like sand/rock domes. When I'm talking huge, they're like a couple 100 feet tall, just out in the middle of these valleys, called Temple of the Moon and Temple of the Sun. And you can go out there depending on when you go. But if you go, you can go do that whole trip and maybe only see 1 or 2 other vehicles. And you're like, how is everyone not here? But it's because it's a little bit off the beaten path. And that particular route has a river crossing that you have to do, which eliminates a lot of the, like people who are going to come in like a minivan or a crossover or something like that. They're going to, not going to pull up on that. And so they'll back out of it. So there's some sections like that that are cool. And then Utah's West Desert, it's not as you don't have like the beautiful red rock that you get in southern Utah that's like just it's like so stunning. But it has its own like remote vast beauty that's really really neat, and it's in my opinion really underappreciated and underexplored. There's just tons of roads and trails that go over. Most of them are most of them aren't like technical trails. It's mostly like forest style
Yeah.
roads that every once in a while you got to drop it in 4 low or something, but most of the time you're able to cruise and see a lot of different places, cover a lot of ground.
Is the Western Utah desert similar to the landscape that you see in Nevada?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so
it's gonna
same
be
same
really,
kind
it's
of
gonna,
plateaus and beautiful desert landscape, just not red rock.
yeah, yeah, and in my opinion, it's real. And there's some huge mountain ranges in there too, so you can get up into some mountains as well. But a lot of it is just like it's crazy. You'll go on the other side of a valley, like the Wasatch Front is where most of Utah is. So you have like Salt Lake all the way down to like the Provo area. That's like where the biggest population center is. It's a big valley. You go into the West Desert, and there's 2 or 3 valleys that are 2 or 3 times as big as the Wasatch Front. Like, and there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Like occasionally there's a tiny little, like farm community where, they're bringing in their own tankers of gas. You can't even fill up fuel. So that is one thing you got to be a little bit cognizant of is, where am I going to drop in to pick up fuel, and things like that. We ended up, there's this really cool rock range called Notch Peak. It's one of the biggest vertical drops in the United States next to El Capitan. So a lot of people will go and like base jump off it and stuff. So there's this hermit cave out there that I wanted to go and see really bad. This guy, he served in the military, and then he decided he wanted to just kind of live remotely. So there was this mountain range that this road went through back in like the 50s, and he would clear it, just like move rocks and debris out of it because it was all gravel and stuff for the government. And he built this like little remote cabin cave in it. And so he just lived out there. Anyway, so I wanted to go see it for a long time, but it's a decent little drive to get out to it. So we're cruising out there, and we pull up, and we're about to jump out and go hike up to it. And we see this guy's like waving us down, and it's this older gentleman. He's in his pickup truck. He slid in the snow down into a ravine, and they popped their tire. And then they couldn't lower the tire underneath the pickup bed to get it down. I think just the mechanism was broken. So I thought like, thinking that I could fix it. I'm like, well, let's mess with it. We start messing with it. I was like, it's busted. I don't know what's going on. It's not coming down. Like, I was just thinking of like user error, but
the technical term for this is messed up, and we're going to have to yank you out of here.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, well, my brother and I, we were out here shooting yesterday, and we were supposed to go back into town, but this happened. So they slept there overnight. This wasn't like in January. It was freezing cold that night. We were sleeping in our rigs, like my brother and I. And so I was like, you guys just slept? And he's like, yeah, we just turn the car on every couple hours until we got, and then we'd turn it off and then get cold and turn it back on. He's like, so my brother woke up this morning and started hiking out to go, because a lot of the West Desert, there's different places where there's cell coverage. Like there's not another town for 100 miles, but you'll have cell phone reception. It makes no sense. But anyway, so I was like, well, jump in, let's go find him. And sure enough, we drove, and this was like, dude, he was in his 70s. He must have walked like 10 miles. And sure enough, he's just like sitting at this junction, chilling there. So we grabbed him. I was like, you guys hungry? Let me give you some ibuprofen. Like, here's some water. So we did that, and we were waiting until they had a buddy. He went and called a friend, and his friend was coming to pick him up. So we waited till his buddy showed up. But because we went a ways out of our way, then my brother and I are like, we came all this way to see this cabin, this hermit cave. We do not have enough gas to go back to that hermit cave and then still make it home. So I was like, well, I guess we're not doing it.
You could have spent the night in the cave. I mean,
so we ended up doing the rest of our route, and I ran out of fuel. There was a town that we knew had fuel. I was like, sweet, we're going to make it there. But this is a really remote town. It's no electronic pumps. They shut it. They shut the doors at 8. We got there at like 8:15. We didn't know they closed at 8. We get there at like 8:15. I'm like, oh man. So this was back when I was cruising in my Land Cruiser 100 series, which it gets, like 12 miles of the gallon with nothing in it, And so my brother, he was in his 4Runner. So luckily we just jumped in with him and then ran in another like 45 minutes into town and picked up some fuel and came back. But so I had to go back out and do a trip like a year later. I went back out and actually went and saw the hermit cave.
Well, I think the story of the dudes sleeping in there, the 70-year-old making that hike is a good substitute for going to the hermit cave. Dude, it's I tell you, the just the stories and the way you describe Utah and the terrain, man. I've only been to Moab once, and now I want to go back to Utah and kind of explore everything outside of Utah. You mentioned the channel briefly, and we haven't even talked about it much yet, but how does all this and this storytelling and all the things that we just talked about, how does all of that fit into what you're doing with your YouTube channel?
So it's all combined. It's usually documented in my trips. So I did talk about that one in that trip. But what I really, for me, like, I was going on these, I've always liked video just in general. It's always been fun for me to do. And so I've always made like little, when I was a kid, I was making home videos and crap like that, so like, I've always liked that aspect of it. And so I started going on these trips and exploring it. And in fact, I started like 4 or 5 years ago. I went and did the White Rim Trail, which is part of Canyonlands National Park. It's right outside of Moab. It's like, to me, it's a bucket list trip that people should do. It's amazing. The one downside is it's super hard to get a permit. They only let a certain amount of vehicles go. And so you have to get a permit to go. But anyway, so I did that trip and I documented the whole thing. And I was like, I love this. And I rewatched the video like 30 times on my own. And I was like, why am I doing all these trips and not, recording it all? Because I love doing it. And so I was like, I'm going to start documenting the trips. And I kind of have like a couple of goals. One, I just love doing it. So that part of it's fun. And my kids, they love it. And it's really fun. Like, they'll be like, let's watch this trip, Dad. Let's watch this trip. So in a lot of ways, it's like, it's a journal in a way for me and my family. But also, like, there's so many beautiful places to explore. And I think that off-roading is one of the ultimate family activities in general. You're all trapped together. You have to talk and have it, and communicate and those types of things. That can be good or bad, but in my opinion, it's a good way to spend time together as a family. And so I'm like, I want to do this. I want to take my family and I want to document these trips, and I want to show people all of these amazing places that you can explore in Utah that aren't necessarily your main, Moab and some of those main trails that people think of. And it's not, I still do trips to Moab. I went a couple of times this past year. So it's not like I don't, and there's tons of stuff there that I haven't done. I want to do way more of the trails there, but it isn't necessarily just like wheeling there. Like, I want to show people tons of places that they may have never even thought of or considered. And the landscape is unreal. Like, I was telling you about the Goblin Valley to Cathedral Valley trip that I did. I've actually done it a couple of times. My brother and I went and ran it. Then I went and ran it with my wife because I was like, you got to see this. There's this section of it where I don't know exactly what's in the soil, but whatever is in the soil, nothing can grow. Like, it looks like you are on a different planet.
No kidding.
Like, you get out there and there's absolutely nothing. It's almost like this gray, almost looks like ash. It's incredible. And you're just like, you look and it is so desolate. And so it's a really cool trip. It's almost nothing super technical. There's 2 river crossings in it. Those are like the most technical sections of it, but the rest of it's just nice, kind of forest/dirt roads. But the scenery is unreal. And you go into the Cathedral Valley where you see these huge monoliths, which are super stunning. And so I led a group, a bunch of friends last year, and we went and did it like literally like 3 weeks before COVID hit. And it was like one of the last big trips that I've done. I've done a bunch of trips in between with just like me, but like group trips. And a lot of people, like, they'd never known about that. And I'm very much like, I say, I want to get from here to here. And I open up Gaia GPS and I just start plotting a route. And sometimes that's great. Sometimes I hit like 1,000 like closed gates and like really frustrating things or trails that are no longer there. So sometimes it can be really frustrating, but other times like, amazing routes. Yeah. I could probably rival Cody in the U-turn game.
No,
I don't think nobody can.
No one can beat me. But two things I think are really intriguing about what you just said is I think it's really easy for someone outside of Utah. Like, if I want to go wheeling in Utah, I can go find stuff on Moab, on any of the main places right there. It's fully documented. And like, if I'm going to make the 12-hour trip to get to some place, I want to go someplace where I feel comfortable and I have an idea of what's in front of me. And so I'm going to choose like Moab or someplace that's documented. And what you're doing is exposing the rest of us to a much broader area, so much more options when we think about that territory. I want to go see that stuff. I don't have to go to Moab. Like, the Moab Easter Jeep Safari is supposed to be like an amazing event to go to, but I'm told you can't wheel because there's 200
parking
people
lot.
lined up on
Yeah.
the trail to wheel, right? So the idea of being able to watch your channel and experience or see your experience in these outlying areas will probably inspire others to go test it, go check it out. And I think that's amazing what you're doing. And the second thing is, at no point have you talked about how about rock crawling or the type of terrain. You keep talking about how beautiful it is and how serene it is and how picturesque it is and what an experience it is with your family. And I think, we've talked about it multiple times on the show. Off-roading isn't just overcoming obstacles. A lot of times it's just driving on a road to a place that's, on a dirt road, that's a place that no one else is at. And I think you're kind of embodying all that in the adventures that you're doing on your videos.
Yeah, one of the things that's really important to me is that I want it to be accessible to people. I share my tracks. People email me all the time. Hey, how can I get to this? And I know some people are super anti like sharing tracks and like don't geotag and a lot of things like that. And I guess my philosophy on it is the industry is growing no matter what, right? And it doesn't matter what we do, it's going to grow. There's no way of hiding it. The way that social media people share things, there's no way of hiding it. So I want to educate people so that they're being responsible, right? And a lot of that, because a lot of times people, they get into it and they don't know that this trail is like on the border of being shut down because people are messing around on it all the time, right? So some of it, you got to educate them. And then two, one of the reasons that some of those areas have a really hard time is that they are so overran, right? Like they're getting, I live really close to American Fork Canyon, and it is absolutely stunning. But it is on a Saturday, I will not go up that canyon. Like between, and there's tons, it's part of it is because every user group is up there. You have people horseback riding, you have people dirt biking. There's 2 reservoirs up there, and it's like wall to wall paddle boards. You've got everyone in their UTVs, then you've got the Jeep clubs and the cruiser clubs and all kinds of stuff. And it's like a zoo, and it's a beautiful canyon. And I want everyone to go there and explore it and have a good time. But at the same time, I'm like, if you guys would like drive like 25 minutes this direction, you're going to see things that are just as cool, and we can spread out that footprint a little bit, and people can go out and explore and have really cool places to check out that aren't necessarily all right on top of each other. And it ruins it for some people too. And there's always like bickering between user groups, right? Like the dirt bikers hate the UTV people, the Jeepers and off-roaders hate the UTV people, that everyone
hates the UTV people.
Yeah. The environmentalists, the environmentalists hate everyone that has a motor, and so it's just that combination. So to me, it's like, I want to show people here's incredible places to go where you can go and have a really good time with your family or your friends and do really cool exploring. And we're going to spread that footprint out. And hopefully as you get out, this happens to me all the time. I drive by places and I'm like, I want to know where that goes.
Yeah. All the time.
I can't go check it out this time, but I'll literally put a pin on Gaia and I'll be like, I'm coming back because I want to know where that road goes. Or I often will be like, I'm supposed to get from here to here. And I'll be like, but I went down here and then I went down here and I went down here. And all of a sudden I get there. I was supposed to cover 200 miles in the day and I've covered like 45. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm just changing this trip. It's just not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. So I want to be able to kind of adapt to it on the fly. And it isn't like, I definitely don't consider myself a rock crawler. I've done some of the harder trails in Moab and I would like to do more of them. But to me, like really hammering down, beating up on the rig isn't necessarily like what it is that I want to do. It isn't to say that there aren't cool things that and fun. There's some amazing trails that you can do some really heavy, hardcore rock crawling in that I want to do some of them. But for me, it's more about the adventure and the exploring. And I feel like I can get that just about anywhere, and I can do that in my vehicle. And so it's like, I'm good for now. And maybe eventually I'll get to a trail and say, you know what, I've done all these other trails. Now I got to go and do, this, 8 or 9 level trail in Moab because that's what's left. But I don't think I'm going to run out anytime soon.
and if I could comment on the sharing of trails, you're right. There are a lot of people that won't, and you know what? That's
usually people put that behind a paywall.
Yeah, that's personal preference. You know what I mean? If you've got this super secret camping spot, and you don't want to share it, whatever. But it sounds like the way that you explore your your paths and the trips is very, very similar to what we do. It's a lot of looking at maps online, going, I think I can go from here to here. I think I can take this path. Here's an alternate path. And then we will go test that out. And if we come across a closed gate or an area we're not supposed to be in or something that looks a little bit sketchy, we will find a way around that is consistent with the tread lightly principles, that's not breaking any rules. And then we will share that route with people, as opposed to getting someone that goes, hey, I saw on Instagram this area that I want to go to, and they just head out with no guidance at all. And, and I'm not saying people do it intentionally, but maybe they don't know the difference. Maybe they don't know whether or not they're supposed to be on this trail or behind this gate or whatever. If someone like you, who is taking a responsible approach to that trail and saying, hey, this is a reasonably safe option for you to go, and you don't have to worry about breaking any forest rules or any of those other things, I think that's a great service. I think that to your point, it spreads the footprint of the off-road community out across this broad area and makes it more enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm not going to fault anyone that the only time that I won't share something with someone is if someone shows me their particular spot and they ask me not to share it, then I'm like, that's out of respect for that person, not out of, trying to keep it secret or anything like that. But I want people, it's what I have found is I'm amazed by how many people that's one of their biggest deterrents is they're just like, I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And I've always been the type of person that's like, I don't know, I'm going to go that way.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go that way until I can't go that way anymore. That's never been something that's been like, I don't know that like the fear of like, a lot of people ask me like, well, what happens if your rig breaks down? And I'm like, I'll figure it out. Like, I try to do some mitigation, right? Like I give my brother, if he's not on my trips with me, I give him my route or give him at least the area that I'm going to be. But I travel solo a ton, which I know a lot of people in the off-roading community are like, oh, never go on a trip by yourself. And I could go into, super long things that I do to kind of help mitigate that. But at the end of the day, like I may break down at some point in time and be 150 miles away from another human being, and I'm going to have to figure it out. And I think that I can. And or at least at minimum, I can survive long enough for a helicopter to find me, one of the two. So but so many people, they're worried like, well, what if I go out here and I don't know where I'm like, you're like 30 miles from civilization. Worst case scenario, you can walk out.
Yeah,
it's not that big of a deal, but they're terrified. So they're like, well, can you just like what I'm doing and finding the routes? I'm not some kind of like freaking genius or something. I'm literally pulling up Gaia and I'm pulling up Google Earth and I'm like, that's a trail.
Yeah.
And that's a legal road for me to be on. Yeah. So I'm going to go and I'm going to see where that goes. And tons of times, like I said, like I'll get there and it's like, sometimes it's awesome. Sometimes they're like, this trail kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't very much fun. Or other times I'll get there and I'm like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. How come nobody knows about this? I'm not going to say no, but there's some people that are really well explored, but I'm amazed by how often I will take a group of people who've lived in the state and do a decent amount of traveling, and they'll see something that they've never seen or ever, they didn't even know that existed. And I'm like, this isn't that far from you. So I want people to do that. I want to have those experiences. I'm doing it, selfishly. I'm going to see it because I want to know what's there.
Yeah,
but even here around us, like there's tons of trails that we've never even gone to, and they're literally 10, 15 minutes away.
And I don't know.
It's easy to go to your comfortable places too, and I have some of that too. I have a campsite that, like, if I want to do an overnighter, I have this cool little campsite. It's like 20 minutes from my house. It's really beautiful. I'll just go up there, camp there for the night, hang out, and then come back. So I have some of those, but a lot of times I love seeing new things and experiencing new things. I would love to explore well outside of Utah too, but right now with my work schedule, it works really well that I leave Thursday nights, come back Saturday nights. And so that's kind of the way,
that's cool.
That I do it.
And I love, like, I would love the idea of finding that trail that nobody else is on. Like, I'm constantly looking on maps for that. And I love that idea. And I know that Matt's going to scoff at this, but I don't know if that willingness to explore is something that I developed over time because of off-roading, or if it was, if I had that innately in me, and it made it easier for me to go off-roading. But this weekend,
you had aliens in you,
innately, inherently.
Did I hear that? I mean, I'm trying to text.
Using too big of words for Matt, Cody. Too big of words.
But my point is that there's down by my house, there's this road that comes to a dead end. Well, it comes down and it makes you turn, and there's a gate. And this is by El Prado Golf Course. And Matt, you know where I'm at. And that gate has been there as long as I've gone down that road. And I've always wanted to know what's on the other side of that gate. So this weekend, I literally I drove to El Prado Golf Course with my bike. I got off the truck and rode my bike past the gate, found that the entire road was completely washed out because of the creek that runs through the golf course. Had to ride my bike onto the golf course to get over a bridge and then back to the other side, because I believed, looking at the map, there was a path from El Prado Golf Course to the Chino Hills State Park. And I'm like, it looks like I can get under the 71 freeway and do this. So I went and did it. It was a horrible freaking idea. It was muddy and gnarly, and I was exhausted just getting to, like, I didn't do half of the trail I had mapped out before I realized I have to turn around and go back through that mud to get back to my truck. This is stupid. I need to go back. But it was that whole thing, I think, that you look at, you see that road and you're like, where does it, I need to know where that goes. I want to know what's on the other side of that road.
I compare it. We've talked a number of times, like, if you're sitting on the 91,
yes,
and you know, like, up right over those hills is Chino, like, and then I'm halfway home, but instead I got to sit in this stupid freeway for 10 miles I don't want to go on. And there's dirt. You can see a trail going up over, like,
trails.
And it's like, why can't I just do that? Just because somebody put a stupid fence there that I'm in a truck full of tools, whatever. But you know, that would save you like an hour off of your commute every day if you just sneak up that dirt road and then just fake the latch back up, once you cross that gate.
I know. There's a lot of areas like the 241, 91. There's a lot of those areas here in Southern California where, to your point, Matt, if the gate was open and they just let us go through, we'd probably eliminate half the traffic on the Southern California freeways.
Yes.
So, Jared, on your videos. So, well, let's talk about your vehicle. What kind of vehicle do you driving?
So I am driving a 2012 Jeep Wrangler JKU.
You're right. You will break down eventually. So the as you're doing these trips,
I'm seeing the comments about the rain. I haven't been watching the feed because I've been trying to listen to you guys, but I've been looking at the feed and there's some good stuff in there.
Oh yeah, you know how it goes in there. So when you are out on your trips and doing your video, talk to me about that process. Are you the type of person that says, I'm going to go out and do this trip and I want to get this type of footage in this order? Or you just, I'm going to go and film it and then put a story together afterwards?
I wish that I could say that I was the first, because I think it would make the content better. But in a lot of situations, and I try, like, I'm certainly not like there's people out there that are better cinematographers than me. Different things like that. Like I'm trying to, and they'll be like better color correctors. I'm really trying to document the trip. Like, this is what happens. And sometimes, like, the trips go super well and there's no problems at all. I just got back from a trip this last weekend where, like, literally 20 miles into it, I got stuck and spent 2.5 hours digging snow out, to get unstuck.
Dude, and snow on the ground, turn around. You know better. You know better.
I thought of you guys as I was listening, because I listened to the latest show,
with the Canadian
guys, as I was on that trip, and you guys were talking a lot about snow on the ground, and I thought these guys would not approve of this trip. There was a ton of what was frustrating is it was the perfect amount of snow, just enough to be fun, right? Where you're not super worried about it, but there was one place in the road where the road was kind of undercut a little bit, and so the drift of the snow just went over, and so I'm like cruising, everything's fine, and then just and I'm like, oh, I'm so stuck. Like, you can just tell, like, you're immediate, because I was going fast enough. I'm like, go out. Sure enough, all 4 tires are just, I was still high centered. I'm like, this is going to take forever to dig out. So anyways, I had to dig a bunch and I was able to get out. But sometimes, the adventures, they're not all the same, but I try to just document what happens. I'm not sugarcoating it. Sometimes stuff sucks that happens, and I usually don't try to hide that. If I make a stupid mistake, I show that. I think that's one thing that people, I am not an expert, and I definitely don't want to come across to anyone that watches my channel as an expert. And so I'm very candid about mistakes. I went and tried to do Long Canyon, not this past one, like a year ago in the winter. It's a beautiful area just outside of Moab. You've probably seen it a ton. There's a rock basically that fell off at some point in time. By rock, I mean, this thing's as big as a bus, and it's leaning and you drive underneath it. Well, it's a pretty steep road getting up to it, but when there's nothing on the ground, there's no big deal. But it was snowy. This was in January or February, and I'm cruising up to it, and everything's going good, and then everything's not going good. And to the right is like, I don't know, like 150-foot cliff, like off the side. And then to the left is a rock wall. So I'm hugging the left side because I'm like, worst case scenario, I go into the rock, So I did, I'm going up and I lose traction and I smashed into the rock. And so it took me a while to figure out a way to get out and stuff. And so, I doubt a lot of people will be like, I ain't showing people this,
No. I think that's. I think you can tell, and I'll speak for me.
That's prime podcast content,
yeah,
right there.
I'll speak for me only. I think there are channels that you can tell are very curated to provide the most beneficial content, and like that's not who we are. That's not, as human beings, that's not who we are. As definitely the people involved with this show, that's not who we are. Everything we do is a shit show, and if it's successful in any way, it's a pure fluke. But I think that is way more genuine and will provide way more connection with the audience by doing it that way. By saying, hey, look, man, I had a plan today. Plan didn't go well.
Yeah, 100%.
Either that or it'll just scare people off of trails and stuff. And like, I was thinking about getting into my Jeep since it has 4-wheel drive and checking it out, but not after watching this video. Check out this guy, And then it just keeps it just keeps our trails less crowded.
Yeah,
so either way.
Yeah, I was just trying to scare him off. That's a good point, man.
Yeah, exactly.
If I really like it, I'm just going to show him the worst part over and over again.
That's right.
And he'd be like, you should not come here. You should not come here.
I was thinking about something like, if you lived in snow, wouldn't it be beneficial to have like one of those, those roofing torches where you just, because you could have just melted all that ice probably in 5 seconds.
Oh, a big hot mop, a propane hot mop torch. Dude,
exactly.
You're absolutely right. How hard would that be to carry? Is one propane tank and the wand, right? And you get it. You're just like fire it up, melt all that stuff down. The Jeep sinks 3 inches off. Now you're not centered anymore. I think
you're not shoveling snow anymore. Your
driveway.
Yeah. My wife.
He's telling that story about how he got buried in snow and started digging. I'd be like, "F it, dude. I'm here. Like, when does this snow melt? I'll just wait. Like, I'm not digging myself out of snow.
We'll get only about three more months, and it'll all be gone.
I need to go on a diet anyways.
Hey, you know what? Bears
of,
hibernate, and so do I.
Yeah.
Aren't you one and the same?
Yeah. What, Jose? What were you saying about your wife?
She showed me a TikTok video of someone recorded their neighbor with one of those torches melting the snow off their driveway. And he was like playing with the flame, like shooting it up in the air.
Exactly.
But he was melting the snow off his driveway.
Yeah, I love it. I don't think that's a bad idea at all, man. I think you just developed a new hashtag. Hashtag we invented that. Hashtag it's ours. Hashtag you can't have it. I saw a video of a guy that it was a Jeep and it said, "Is this genius?" So that it's snow everywhere. The guy opens up his garage door, and on the trailer hitch on the back of his little Jeep Liberty, he had a snow shovel blade, and he just backed his Jeep Liberty out of the garage, and his whole driveway was clean after that. I'm like, that's pretty genius. That's a lazy man creating a genius idea right there.
Either that or a snow veteran. Like he's
like, I'm not dealing with this shit. Yeah. I don't envy that. What kind of tools are you using when you make the channel? Like I mean, because all you've got, your videos have production value. They're not just raw videos you upload. That you've got, titles, and you've got, what are you using to both capture the video and then edit it?
Yeah, so I've got a couple different cameras, nothing super fancy, but I'm using a DSLR for most of the footage, and so a lot of my footage is when I'm going by myself, I'm setting up the camera, and so I have a ton of footage of me running back, set up the camera and then run it back, and every once in a while the worst is when there's a cool switchback and I want to record it going down, and so I'm always like, oh man, like is this shot really worth it? And so
the answer is no. The answer is always no.
Then I got to stop and run back up and grab the camera. sometimes my brother comes with me on our adventures, and then we kind of do a little bit of like a leapfrog, and so we can kind of both film each other and some things like that. But so I'm using just like, a decent DSLR camera, but nothing super fancy. And then I do use the GoPro for some of the in-vehicle stuff. So I don't like mount it all the time because I find that footage to get a little bit stale. And so usually what I'll do is just in a cool section, I'll actually just hold the GoPro on like a handheld, and then record for like 10, 15 seconds. When I first started, I was like mounting the GoPro and recording like the whole time. And then I would get back and I'm like, I have 10 hours of GoPro.
Yep.
I can't remember when the good footage is.
Yes.
And so I usually will only pull it out if I'm in a cool section where I'm like, hey, I really want to document this, but I do need to be driving while I'm doing it. Every once in a while, I wish that I was still had it mounted. Like I did this trip with a bunch of guys a couple of weeks ago, and we went, and the first guy went across in his 80 series Land Cruiser, no problem, he's cruised across, but there was a frozen spring, and the water of the spring had gone across the trail. So the first guy, there was a little skiff of snow, and so he had perfect traction, just went right across. And the dude in front of me is in this real nice 4Runner, and he just starts going, and I've never seen a vehicle just start going the opposite direction faster. He's like like he could have done nothing. Like, this is not user driver error. This is like just you're on a sheet of ice, and he just like, and like the 4Runner like flipped around sideways. And luckily, like, we're kind of like going up a mountain, and luckily a lot of your mountains have like shelves, it's cut out, and luckily we weren't in a steep section, so he didn't die, which is good,
That's
but
good.
yeah. So he was sliding.
Would have made for good content, but whatever, cool.
And we had to, so I was right behind him, and I backed up and we winched him out. And it took, just getting him hooked up to the winch was a pain because we're walking across this ice and everyone just eating it. Like,
yeah, see, that's the thing. Like mud, sand, dirt, all of those things, all of those terrains, you're not gonna die. Like, you could literally die on a sheet of ice. You can't walk. You can't stop. You can't. All you do is die. Like, none of that seems. And your ball's cold the whole time. I don't understand. Like, I hate it. I don't understand.
Oh, there's so many good things about winter stuff. I'm actually jealous because a lot of like the mountain trails in Utah are closed in the winter. They close it down. They don't let you go up there. But a lot of places like California in the mountains, Oregon, Washington, they leave a lot of those forest roads open for winter wheeling and stuff. This was actually out in Utah's West Desert, but
it's called thinning the herd.
Yeah. They leave it open because all the Californians are like, I'm not going up there. There's snow.
This is Darwinism at work.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, I'm not in, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. There was some really fun things but getting them out was tough, and we were able to get them, winched out and stuff. But I really wished, going where that story came from, I really wish I had my GoPro running as I saw him sliding, because I'm right behind him and I'm like, oh, he's gone, like off the trail. So I'm like, oh, I missed out on that. But most of the time, I can't run it the whole time. I use Adobe Premiere to edit all of the footage and color correct and some of those types of things to just add, I try to add music. I try the music to be not super distracting, and then I'll add some voiceover in certain sections if I think that it's merited. I try to kind of tell the story as I'm going. When I first started, I did a lot more voiceover, and I don't like it quite as much. It feels more production. It feels just more like produced / it's way more work,
Yeah.
And so if I can tell, and sometimes it's not fresh in mind. Like, I'll go on a trip and it'll be 2 weeks or 3 weeks that I'm editing it, because I try to keep a few videos ahead type of a thing. And so remembering it all is hard, but if I'm telling the story and what's going on as I'm going, that part of it's a little bit easier. And so I do like that a little bit better. The next piece of equipment that I really want to get is a drone, because there's so many really amazing areas that, like, just the static camera doesn't know justice.
Yeah.
And a drone just shows the
drone.
With the all the podcast cash, I'll make sure we pull
podcast money.
The podcast
you
money.
send me your podcast money. I want a drone.
Okay.
Yeah. How about we take video with just the phones we have in our pocket first, and then maybe we can move up to
yeah,
a
let's.
drone.
I wanna
Good
put
point, Jose.
Jose's camera on a drone.
Good-
and get some video for him.
Good point, Jose. Yeah, if we can consecutively post 5 videos in the course of 6 months, then we'll consider upgrading
We'll talk
the
about a
technology.
drone, dude.
But the drone, like I think Trail Adventures TV, our buddy Sexy Dave, he does a lot of drone work, and
Yeah.
the thing about the drone footage, it really gives you that perspective of the territory, the terrain that you're on. Like when we did the Kessel Run and so the Mojave Trail and stuff, some of the footage he has of that in his shots is it really like identifies the expansiveness of the areas that we're in, whereas like to your point, you can't get that looking out of a DSLR lens that you're holding on to. And I think it tells the story of the terrain that you're on.
Yeah, 100%. I think that it will. To me, it's the next step up of making the content just that much better and engaging, and really
Taking a
showcasing.
Frontier would probably take you to another level too.
You're probably right. It would probably
next level up.
quadruple. It'd probably quadruple my subscriber base by just having that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Whoa.
You'll get like 3 more.
No.
The real way to quadruple your subscriber base is to get a Forerunner. That, like, no joke. If I had a Forerunner, I think I'd have 5 times as many followers as I do. But and I wouldn't have to go anywhere.
I don't
just
know,
need
dude.
the Forerunner.
I bought a Tacoma for that reason, and it didn't work. Yeah, you're right though. The Toyota community, Forerunner and Tacomas, and even into the Land Cruisers and the Lexus, like they seem to have such a solid presence in the YouTube social media world, and like they seem to like multiply. Like someone has a Toyota channel, it multiplies, and I don't know if that's just a representation of the size of the the quantity of people that own those vehicles, or is it specific to the people that own those vehicles being active on social media? I don't know the demographic.
Yeah, I don't know the answer, but I am surprised by. It's a really loyal fan base, and they're awesome vehicles, right? I have a 100 series Land Cruiser, and I'm not a to me,
So
it's not about
loyalist.
Yeah, I'm not a Toyota loyalist, but I'm not like a Jeep evangelist either. Like, I'm an adventure evangelist. Take whatever vehicle you have. Like, and honestly, you should probably take whatever vehicle you have, go and use it. It may be good enough for what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like your full-size pickup, like a lot of people are like, oh, like you can't take this full-size pickup. Do you know who I saw out in the West Desert all day yesterday, or excuse me, on Saturday and Friday? Guys in full-size pickups. Now, most of them were ranchers and farmers doing crazier crap than almost half of the people that watch my channel and me do in their freaking just regular pickup.
Yeah,
They're just
they're
bob
stock
on with their
pickups, yeah.
flatbed. They've got the blue heeler dog in the back that's going 6 feet in the air on every bump, and they're just flying, right? So, like, a lot of people are like, oh, you can't do that in a full-size pickup. And I'm like, well, that guy just proved everyone wrong
Yeah,
1,000 times over. And they're over here looking like, why the hell is that guy taking pictures of what he's doing? Like,
Yeah.
you know. So to me, like, I want people to take whatever vehicle you have. I don't care. I personally like Jeeps. It's kind of a, maybe because I got one when I was in high school, I like the look of them. I like being able to take the top off, although with my Jeep, I never take the top off, but I like the idea of being able to do that. But who knows? I don't know, like, I don't know what we'll have next, but to me, it's just go out and explore, have a good time. Too much focus on, I love having a little bit of banter. I love giving Toyota guys crap about, they're always talking about how, like, run down Jeeps are and how many problems they have, but their routine, what they call routine maintenance, is what everyone else just calls fixing their crap, right?
Yeah,
Like,
we talked about that with Jose. He's changing starters for no reason every 3 months. It's
No,
like
my starter went out.
okay.
Years, dude,
Alternators.
right?
Yeah.
Alternators,
You
right?
get all the Land Cruiser guys, like I said, I have a 100 series Land Cruiser. And people are like, oh man, that engine, it'll go forever. I'm like, yeah, it'll go forever. It's going to cost you $8,000 in timing belt changes, and you're going to be able to get that motor to go 300,000 miles. So I'm like, it is going to go forever, but you could have also bought another motor at some point in time too, with the cost of your timing belt change. So, I like banter.
But what you saved,
$8,000.
what you've saved,
$8,000 gets you 2 Frontiers.
but what you
right off the lot.
But what you've saved in your stereo system by using the JBL Bluetooth speaker, you can put that back into the engine.
Exactly. No, so I like I said, my channel is very I will do some things that are Jeep specific because that's what I have, and I'm going to showcase some of the things that I do with my Jeep. But it isn't. I have no desire to only cater to people who have Jeeps, or only one, because who knows? I don't like. First of all, we have 3 kids. If we have another kid, we don't fit in the Jeep anymore. So I got to figure something else out.
You put an end to that right there. You're just like, why? You don't need to do that. You've already got 3.
But you get the idea. Is
right,
like,
right, Tim? Is Tim in the chat room? Yeah, Tim's in the chat room. He's got 3. Tell him, dude. Tell him. I'm having conversations with Tim in the background about how they're either going to start wheeling a Suburban or get 3 other vehicles so that one of their kids, when they turn 16, they can start driving. So, yeah, you don't need any more than that.
100%.
Yeah, So what? So you're talking about the development of the show and the next steps with the camera and the drone. What other things do you want to do next? What other things are your, like, as you're working on the channel? What are the next steps for you and the YouTube channel?
So I want to showcase. I want to showcase more. I want to do more travel outside of Utah. That's one of them. So whether it's like, I would love to do the Mojave Trail. I was highly considering joining you guys down in Parker for that trip, just because I had lived in Lake Havasu for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I was like, do I really want to burn down there? It's like an 8.5 hour drive. So I opted not to, but I just,
it would have been worth it, dude.
Oh, dude, that was, look, we talked about it. That was one of the best trips that we've ever been on. I think partially because Jose wasn't there, but otherwise it was fantastic.
It's like leveled up as soon as he was like, I'm out, guys.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is going to be the best trip. Jose's not going.
You should totally come down from Mojave, dude. We're doing it Memorial Day. I don't even know if there's going to be a zombie apocalypse between now and then, or if the world's going to end, or if I'm going to die, but we're planning on doing Mojave Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, that's super. I'm going to highly consider. I would love to do it. And I think it'd be fun to go with people who sometimes, like, I like, because I do lead a lot of my own trips / I'll take other people on trips. Sometimes it's nice to be like, I'm going to be fourth vehicle.
Brother.
Like,
preach on, brother. Come on. Let's bring it on. Come on.
Like, just let me be the 4th vehicle. Be like, I'll just put me right in front of Jose. He can be the gunner, and I'll just be right behind. So that, to me, that's one of the things I really want to do. I want to do some more exploring around the state. There's a couple of in-state trips that I really want to do. There's the Utah Traverse, the Utah Converse, and then there's also the Utah BDR. Those are all basically the Utah Traverse is an east to west trip. Or west-east, whatever direction you want to go, but you're basically going across the entire state, almost all off-road. And that one's really cool because you're going through some of the most scenic places in Utah. Now, it's a trip that will take 8 to 10 days because these are like not fast-paced roads. Some of them are more technical. I probably can't bite all of it off in one go, but I would like to do, maybe
section it off.
Yeah, section it off and do. And I've done some sections of it already just because in the area, but I would like to do a full trip where it's like, I'm going to do this one this weekend, do a weekend break, go back and do the next section, do a weekend break, and then do the next section. So I would like to do a couple of those like longer, trips. I think this year I'm hoping to do, at least 1 week long trip, which would be, it's a real entire experience. And it adds just that different layer of complexities of, fuel management and food management. And obviously, like when you go for a week, you're still filling up in fuel. Like even Utah is super remote, but you're almost never more than 100 miles away from a gas station or food, So it isn't to necessarily say that I'm never going to touch into civilization, but with the idea that I'm gone for a whole week, I would like to me, that just adds an extra level of planning. And I really like the camping aspect of it anyway. So for me, that part of it is fun. So that's another, step in the direction I want to go with the channel. And then I also want to meet up hopefully this year with more. The plan was to do that last year, was to meet up with, groups like you guys. And I have some friends that have channels and stuff from other states and things like that I would love to go do trips with, but COVID kind of put a wrench in a lot of that. So,
messed up everybody's deal. The whole being gone for 8 days though, after the Arizona trip, Matt and I have kind of decided that we can't really camp any more than 15 minutes away from a Walmart. So we would really have to plan our trip accordingly and get from we would leapfrog from this Walmart to that Target to this Stater Brothers to The idea,
That's it.
the idea, like literally, we would like, what do you want for dinner tonight? I don't know. Let's go to the store. I don't feel like cooking anything. Let's go to McDonald's. Like that was the best.
That's why in that scenario, I-95 or whatever in Arizona, there's like the prime trail or course because there's like a Walmart every 5 miles on that side of the river. Well, there's all kinds of nice stops.
In Utah, it looks like we could take the 70 east to west, and there's a handful of cities. We would just parallel the 70 and stop in each one of these towns to get food.
Oh, and man, you have off of I-70. There's so many epic places. Like, I-70 goes right through the San Rafael Swell in Utah, which is one of my favorite places to explore, and it's just a bunch of remote BLM and state land that's absolutely incredible. So you can do some really cool stuff in that area for sure.
Dude, I want to go to Utah now.
Come, I'll lead you guys on an awesome trip. Anytime you guys want to come and you can peel away, and I'll take you on something that'll be beautiful.
That's like Utah. That's the only thing is it's best case scenario. It's a 10-hour drive. Like from us, and there's no good way to get there.
St. George is like seven hours, isn't it?
That's it's southern faster. Yeah, and there's really cool. Like Sand Hollow is kind of like a mini Moab in a lot of ways. Like there's some really aggressive, really cool off-roading that people do in Sand Hollow. Like if you just Google like Jeeping Sand Hollow, like there's some incredible stuff. Like I don't know if you've ever seen the Light Bright. They're like a really hardcore off-roading channel, but they are down there all the time, and they have some, they're running like, 40s and a V8 swap in their Jeep, and they're doing some really heavy stuff like that. But there's really amazing trails in that area too.
Yeah, Matt, you're right. St. George is 5.5 hours away from here. For some reason, I thought
remember driving when it was probably 20 years ago. I did a trip with some friends to Yellowstone, and we drove through Utah. It was really beautiful, and I remember seeing like every exit there was a golf course in St. George. And I'm thinking, this is where I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire right in this town. There's like, you could play a different golf course every day for a month. It seemed like it. So, man.
Tons of great golf and tons of nice warm weather. It's like, it's hot there, it's the place you go in the winter to get a break from the snow for sure.
Yeah. So I guess Moab is 10.5 hours, not, I guess. So that's a big difference. And you said down in that southwest corner where Zion is and all that stuff, there's a lot of wheeling.
Zion's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, like Zion in itself. Now it's not like off-roading, right? You're going to come in and do heck, in the summer you have to take the shuttles in. Buses take you into it. But there's amazing hikes there that are really, really cool. In addition to all around Zion and around St. George, that's all going to be BLM and different lands like that. So you're going to have a ton of areas in there to explore. Like Canaryville Falls is really close to there, which is a popular one. Like you've probably seen it on Instagram 1,000 times. There's this waterfall. People are parked their vehicle right in the middle. So it's a cool trail that goes to it. There's tons of great. In fact, there's this guy that has this channel called, I think it's Matt's Off Road. And all he does is he has this old XJ. His channel's huge. You should check it. It's crazy. All he does is go around the St. George area, tugging people out.
Oh yeah, I've seen that guy.
Off-road recoveries.
Yeah.
His videos are amazing. He's just like, he's kind of a crack up of a dude, but that'll just show you how much. That's all in the St. George area.
Okay.
Everything he's doing is all around there.
Wow, I didn't think about that. I mean, 5 hours. That's not that bad. It's not much longer than the trip we did to Arizona.
It's a couple hours past Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, if we drive, exactly. If we try to make that trip, we get into Vegas. Casey and Matt will be off the freeway. Like, does anybody know where Casey and Matt are? Like, we can't find them.
When you guys are on your way back,
you were supposed to tell Jose. You're the telegunner. You're supposed to tell everyone they got off the strip.
No, Casey and Matt would pull off in Vegas, and on the way back, we'd pick them up, and they'd be like, "All right, guys, the story is we were with you the whole time." Well, dude, I'm super glad that we were able to connect and get you on the show, and I really think, like for me, you really opened up the idea of Utah as a destination above and beyond the places that we know about. Like especially thinking about St. George now being 5 hours away. I mean, that's a viable trip for us. That's a viable
3 hours in the frontier.
It's 3 hours in the frontier.
18 in my car.
That's
Jose
a-
will leave the day before. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
no,
I need a day
Jose's
extra.
going
Yeah,
to be getting. He's got 3 days before he sees his new vehicle. He's been getting that new Frontier when it comes out in 3 days.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we will. But I really appreciate what you're doing, and the fact that you're building this channel. Kind of, you made the point of as a family journal, and exploring your sharing your real world explorations with the rest of us, and building it. And for those of you that haven't already done so, go find Backroad Explorations on YouTube. He's got 3.85 thousand subscribers so far, which is like, I don't know, 400 times more than we have. And so go get him back up to I don't know what's an extra 15 people on top of that. Go get some more go subscribe to his channel on YouTube, and it's at Backroad Exploration on Instagram, right?
Yep.
And he's got a lot of footage of stuff up there. All right, dude. So when are we getting together? When's the trip? We got to figure out how to connect somewhere in between us and you, and make this happen.
Mojave.
Yeah, I'm really tempted by the Mojave trip. I'll probably be in touch with you. I need to look at my work plans and my time off and stuff. But I've wanted to do that one forever. It's a cool trip, and I'd love to go with your guys' group and just be a part of the the experience.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, and it fits.
I meant to say experience.
And it fits really well in with what you've talked about. As we've talked about Mojave. It's not crazy off-roading. It's more scenery. It's more camaraderie. It's more being out camping with the family for a couple days. So I think you'd really enjoy that trip and knock it off your bucket list. So, well, let's connect between now and when is Memorial Day? May. 5 months, 4 months, 3 months.
So
3 months.
God, I don't know.
You have that holiday off, Cody?
I'll let you know. We'll have to discuss if you get time off. But yeah, let's connect between now and then and see if we can't plan something and get together. In the meantime, man, thank you for connecting with us, and we really, really enjoyed having you on the show. It was a great conversation. Thank you for everything.
Perfect. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, man. You have a great
Thanks,
night.
man.
All right, dude. That was really cool, man. That was I really like the genuine conversation. Like really, really cool, really cool story.
Well, I think we do the same type of wheeling.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that drew me to a lot to the stuff that you guys are doing, and just obviously I love the banter that you guys have, and that's the only thing that was bad about the interview part. I was like, I feel like I talk too much and I don't get to hear you guys' banter. But I like I said in the interview, like I love exploring, I love off-roading, I want to see remote places, and if there's a hard, really technical section, awesome. If there's not, I still had a good time. It isn't necessarily like I'm not going to conquer trail, and I have done some of the like the Badge of Honor trails in Moab, some of the harder ones like Hell's Revenge. Well, Hell's Revenge isn't a harder one, but I'm saying I've done some of the more traditional off-road trails, and I plan to do more of them, but it isn't necessarily like, hey, I just want to go do like the more hardcore wheeling. It's really more about exploring and the experience and stuff like that for me. Like I'm going to have just as much fun sitting around the fire at night, hearing other people's stories as I am if I'm, tackling, like Golden Spike or some of the other,
or more fun around the campfire.
Yeah, depends on who's sitting around the campfire that evening.
Yes.
I may have to learn a lot more about baseball, though. If I'm gonna.
No, that's the thing. You don't.
Yeah, no, you can make all the arguments what you want without knowing anything. Trust me, they won't know the difference by that time.
Baseball or gummy bears?
Oh no.
That was
nope.
The gummy bears. The story that you guys told for that. I was laughing, and my wife was like, "What are you laughing about?" I was like, "This is the strangest story. I don't know how to tell you."
You should have been there, bro. You should have.
Yeah.
You should have lived it.
I still have the video. I said I was gonna erase it, but it's like it's too hard. Like once it's gone, and then it's just in my head or in our heads and I don't trust that
Well,
accuracy.
send it to me. I'll keep it safe. Dude.
Cody's like, I've got a special place for that one.
Yeah,
You guys
exactly.
were. I just love it because like Cody's like, I don't know, are we telling this story? And I was like, oh, this has got to be
He's like,
interesting.
he's like,
Oh,
fuck
man.
it, I'll say it.
Oh yeah, that's we weren't we at the time we were like, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to. But then for the next 4 days, that's all we talked about, and it was like we had to tell the story. So all right, housekeeping. I will make an attempt to get this edited by Wednesday evening and get it posted, and then I'll create a couple social media posts and send that to you, and we'll promote it, cross promote it on your stuff and my stuff and our stuff at the same time. I will tell you that this last week I woke up like it was like halfway through the day, Thursday night, or it was like Thursday.
Something was off.
It was
like,
Thursday
"There's something
night.
missing today."
I think it was Thursday night, and I went to bed, and I went, oh shit, it's Thursday. It's not Wednesday. So I didn't get the show out till Friday. I will try not to do that this week. But yeah, we'll coordinate probably Wednesday night. I'll send you an email with all the details and where you can find the show and the upload and all that stuff, and then we'll just promote it, and hopefully we can get people to go check out the cool stuff you're doing over on your YouTube channel, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, and yeah, I'm happy to share it. Love sharing the podcast. I love the podcast, so it's you know,
I'm sorry.
I'm happy to promote it. No, it's fun. I think you guys. I know you guys give yourselves like a lot of, you're good at, self-deprecation and stuff. But I think that I listen to lots of. I like podcasts.
What?
It's
a P, not an F, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But I think you guys have just like you're just real dudes. I think that's what makes it so fun for people. It's like you're not trying to be something, and I'm not saying that other people are trying to be something or not, but like we're sharing how we do it, and that's what I love about your guys' podcast. So happy to promote it and love listening, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh man, I appreciate that very much.
Thanks, man.
And hopefully we didn't let you down. And
no.
we'll
I saw behind the curtain, and I'm not changing my career like Jose. So.
Awesome, man. All right, well, we'll connect with you later in the week. You have a great night.
Yep, have a good one, guys. See you
later, bro.
All right, later, man.
All right, you guys ready for the segment 2?
Yep.
I guess sounds like Jose has a new job.
It sounds like it. Are we going to talk about that?
We can. I don't care.
I don't know. You're asking him for time off for Mojave.
No, all I asked was, do you get that time off for Mojave?
No.
Let's see. I did. I don't know if I sent it to you guys. Did I send you guys the? There was a couple articles. I'll pull them up right now. Hold on.
So I have the Frontier one and the Raptor one up.
Okay.
You sent a video about the Raptor, but when I clicked it, it just kept playing the Armada. Something about the new Armada coming out.
I sent something. I sent something about the Raptor.
No, I have it up right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just sent you guys a link.
Okay. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, we are coming to you guys live from. Well, I'm coming to you live from Covidian Castle. We talked about it a couple weeks ago when Jose had the COVID. It is now running rampant in my house, and I'm very fortunate that I have no symptoms at all. Neither does Presley. Tammy is sick as hell, which is bad, but in a way it's good. Because I can tell for certain that Jose did not give my wife any of his antibodies, and if she didn't get sick, I'd be like, wait a minute, but I could tell that there's been no antibodies. We got a notice on Tuesday that someone at Presley's daycare, her school, tested positive, and it became this whole thing. And we had to pull her out of school, and I came home Tuesday from the office. We tested her. See, this is a weird thing. So we tested her, and I had access to some home tests, and we tested her, and she was positive. I was negative. Tammy was totally fine. 2 days later, Tammy is on her deathbed. Like, I mean, she was sick. She was pretty sick. It wasn't horrible. And then she tested positive. And then, so then Sunday we tested again. Presley's clean, and I was clean, and Tammy does have COVID. So, and now it's like a crap show of having to figure out how long we have to quarantine and stay home and all that stuff. So that's why we're doing the show remote tonight. But Jose, I was telling her about when you said that it was like every bone in your body hurt, and she said she has the same thing.
Yeah, it was just weird, man. Like, for me, it was my legs. It wasn't my whole body. It was my lower back and my legs that hurt so bad, dude. It just felt like someone took a baseball bat to my bones.
Yeah, she said from her fingertips to her toes, she could feel pain in all of her bones the whole time.
Yeah.
So, that's what's going on here. So Jose, you have the video of the New Frontier. Did you guys see that they're going to on the 4th? They're going to release it.
Yeah, they're releasing the 2022 Pathfinder, which is like their crossover, and also the Frontier.
Oh, that's
they
right.
released a little teaser video like of the Frontier bombing through the desert. It looks like Joshua Tree.
Yeah, I forgot about the Pathfinder one too, because the Pathfinder teaser is way more rugged and off-roadish than what you imagine the Pathfinder to be.
Yeah, I mean, the original Pathfinder was a true off-road truck. It was a truck, and I don't know how it got lost in translation, where it's like it turned into a minivan, and now it's like I guess, I mean, because the name Pathfinder, bro, like that's gold. Like that's the best name ever. Dude.
Yeah, you're not finding a path to the mall. It's a Pathfinder. Like,
right.
I'm trying to find a path to my yoga studio. No, it's a Pathfinder. Get out in the dirt.
But I think the Pathfinder is going to be kind of like the Bronco Sport Jeep Renegade competitor.
But you know what, though, I'm cool with that. If they just took the Pathfinder they have and try to make it more rugged and appeal to a broader base, that will help grow the off-road standing of all of the other vehicles, the Titan and the Frontier and all. I mean, it'll help the brand go that direction.
Yeah, I agree. It'll help the pedigree, throughout the models. But
yeah, then they bring the Xterra back, and that's like the full-on off-road. That would with the Pro 4X.
Yeah, that would be cool if the Pathfinder was the Bronco Sport Jeep Cherokee competitor. The Frontier is the Gladiator Ford Ranger competitor, and then the Xterra goes after the Forerunner and the Jeep. That would be awesome, because that would put one more tool in the toolbox for off-roaders. One more option for people to buy.
Yep.
What I sent you guys that link to the Frontier, and it looked like it was.
I'm scared to click it. If it starts clicking, then it's gonna overflow. Like you won't hear me. You'll just hear that video in the background. I'm scared. I'll look at it later.
So you watched it, Jose? What did you think?
Yeah, I watched the video, and I mean, I don't know. I'm excited for the 4th, dude. Is
it a possibility that it would be something you would consider after watching that video?
Yeah, I mean, I've been telling Matt, like, I want to see what this thing's all about. I mean, essentially, it's still the same structure underneath as the current Frontier. It's the same frame, which it's not a big deal because that just means you can Titan swap. You have a free long travel kit from the factory on the New Frontier. So I just hope that this New Frontier sparks the brand up again, and there's more aftermarket support for it.
Well, the image on the beginning of the video, it shows a picture of the grill, and it's way more modern. It looks like in the same vein of the Tacoma and the Ranger, and that rugged off-road truck, very much like the Titan. and I'm really curious to see what the rest of the body looks like and if they've what they've done with the interior to drive new people to the brand.
Yeah, I mean, from the video that I'm looking at right now, yeah, the grill is all squared off, and like the headlights are like
Hey,
LED.
hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, okay? Hold on 1 second. Chase, you're on live with the Trail Chaser podcast. Chase Gentry is calling me on my cell phone right now. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? I was just seeing if you guys are going to be at KOH.
No, we are not there. I am currently quarantining.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully all that goes well. We'll chat soon.
Okay, we are actually recording, and thanks for joining the show, dude. We'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Sounds good. Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye. That was random. I just saw that he was calling, and
Yeah.
So what were we just saying about the Frontier?
It looks like a baby Titan. Like
Yeah.
it looks just a baby. It has LED headlights. It has like a squared off grill. So I mean, from the 7-second video, I mean, it looks pretty dope, dude. But I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna be. So.
And we talked about it a little bit in the past, where you've got the Gladiator that's only a year, 2 years old. You've got the Ford that's 2 years old. Now you're going to have the Frontier that's brand new. And the Tacoma is 5 years old at this point. 2016 is when 2016-17 when it rolled out. So
Which one? The
Tacoma.
Oh yeah, 16.
Yeah. So now the Tacoma is the oldest in that group, and the Frontier is going to be the newest. I'm really interested to see how it does. And look, all honesty, I'm not no joking aside. After watching Matt and Casey do what they do in their Frontiers, a 2018, both of them are 2018, right? Casey's is 18.
I think this is a 14.
Okay,
I thought.
So two Frontiers. I gotta believe that this new one is going to be even more capable than that. Like I would have no hesitation if I was in the market. I would have no hesitation looking at this as a viable option.
Yeah. I'm anxious to see what it is. It's only a couple days away. Finally, man.
Yeah. The only downside is I think Nissan is going to go, well, see, Gladiator 60,000, Tacoma and Ranger are 45,000. We're going to sell this for 42,000. It's not going to be the bang for buck that it is today. They're going to price it. They're going to price it with the market.
I think so.
Well, yeah, they got to get their money back with the investment on a whole new truck, right?
Yeah,
all that
R&D.
R&D. Yeah, obviously. And then it depends on how it looks and how much buzz there is. I mean, that's what it always starts off that way. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see it.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say my thing is why would they choose to reveal the new models the day after the Raptor? Because on the 3rd, the new Raptor is getting unveiled.
Well, one, they probably didn't know that was happening, and two, I think
they knew.
Yeah,
dude.
true. You're right, and I don't think it's the same market. I don't think your Frontier. I don't think the Frontier demographic is the same demographic as the Raptor. Yeah, they're both trucks, but one is your luxury niche $80,000 truck, and the other one is an everyman truck. And I don't think they're concerned about it. You know,
people are going to buy that Raptor because it's a Raptor, regardless of what it looks like or whatever. They're just going to buy that Raptor. I think the Frontier is, like an everyman truck. I'm looking for a nice truck, and a bang for your buck is probably a factor as well. But they're going to like the non-committed people, somewhere like in the middle. So, but who knows? Maybe they'll drag some of those Toyota people away if it's. Again, it's a 6-year newer vehicle. It should draw some people away, considering that drivetrain's that much more potent.
Yeah,
than anything Toyota's got.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great for the people that want to start getting into overlanding and off-roading. I think this truck is going to be their truck because it's brand new. The Tacoma is way over. It's expensive, and the drivetrain isn't that great. I mean, Cody, you test drove it, right?
Yeah, I honestly think that there's going to be I think there's going to be a number of people that went out and bought a Gen 3 Tacoma and have been less that, to your point, Jose, they're overlanding and they're throwing stuff in the back of the truck and racks and what have you. They've been less than satisfied with the performance of the Tacoma. It's not the most comfortable vehicle. And then, so now they're at the tail end of their purchase. They're 3, 4, 5 years into their truck now. And maybe they're looking for a new option. And this is a viable option, right? It's the same size package of the Tacoma. It's going to have the same, it fit the same market as the Tacoma, but it's newer, flashier, and probably, I hate to say it, but probably a better truck. Don't hate me. But so I do think that they are going to, I do think they're going to draw some people away from the Toyota lineup.
I think so too. And I hope so, because, more competition, we all win, dude. So
yeah, for sure. I who knows? I mean, I'm coming up on a year with my truck. We'll see what happens.
It's been a year.
I know. That's what I'm
It's
saying.
been a year.
It's been a year. That's right. January, beginning of January or end of January is when I got that truck. But I seriously, I have had 0 complaints with that truck for a year, which is surprising. Anymore?
I know, because you've had so much to complain about.
I have a lot. I've had a lot to complain about, but this may help. Are you guys done with the Frontier? I got a new story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ford and Google sign a 6-year deal for in-car connectivity and cloud services. Boom. Ford and Android, 2 of my favorite things, coming together like peanut butter and jelly.
I think that's horrible. That just makes me like, if you were to tell me, like, yeah, guess what 2 companies are going to combine in a nonsensical way, I'd say probably Android and Ford. Ford gives a shit.
No, dude, that is not a nonsensical way. That is genius for them.
I'm an Apple guy, so I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah, got him.
Damn it.
Nice. That was well timed.
But no, I mean,
yeah, who cares? What are you're talking about?
The in-car entertainment, the infotainment centers, you know what I mean?
Dude, I have satellite radio in my truck. It's yay, That's it. Oh,
Apple CarPlay is pretty legit, dude. Like, it's so easy to use.
It plays your music. Nice.
I think we had this discussion once where Matt was like, I don't understand. Don't you just plug your phone into the auxiliary jack?
I have Bluetooth.
Yeah, you do have Bluetooth. And every time I call you in your truck, the conversation starts like this. Hey, you there? I hate this goddamn Bluetooth. Can you hear me now? Hold on. Every single conversation in the beginning of your truck.
Look, Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay is like really legit. That like no matter what car I get next, it has to have that feature. Most cars do already, but there are, dude. The Toyota, they barely got it this year.
Yeah,
like it's crazy, dude.
Yeah, my Ranger has this Ford Pass or something. So you have this app on your phone, and it can sync up apps between the truck but I never use it. I never.
Yeah, but if you're through, is there a certain trim level where you can get like Android Auto and Apple CarPlay?
Maybe.
It should have it, dude, because it's just so seamless. If it has that,
for sure. I totally see the benefit, and I wish that it. So in the Tacoma, I replaced the whole head end with that Android base, and I loved it. That Android base head unit was amazing, and I'd love to do it in the Ford as well. For that reason, it's just super simple to sync up. Like I can literally create maps on my computer here in the office, go out to the truck, turn it on, it would connect to the Wi-Fi and download the maps. I mean, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'd love to be able to do that. But Adam Shanley is saying that the Groot, the Gladiator has both Apple and Android, and I'm sure he would agree that
usually
Android is better.
head units that have CarPlay, Apple CarPlay have Android. It's like both.
Yeah.
Most.
Because if they want to put something that works, they have to have the Android on there too.
CarPlay, exactly. Even you know.
I screwed up. Yeah, I put my foot in my own mouth. But no, I am excited about the Ford and Google collaboration, and whether it's Android or something different. I think the idea. My buddy has a Tesla, and you get into that car, and it's like driving a Jetsons vehicle. Like the amount of
spaceship.
It is totally a spaceship, right? And the idea that you could bring that to a vehicle that we're going to drive is exciting to me. Whether it be a Ford or a Nissan or whatever, I just like the idea of the mobile operating systems being accessible inside the car.
Yeah.
Matt just shrugged his shoulders. Matt, we're on a podcast, and Matt shrugged his shoulders so that you so that you knew he disapproved.
Just disinterest. Okay.
So we shouldn't talk about who gives a shit about the new Raptor then?
No, I
think about it.
I think that it's an important release. I mean, what are the details?
So it's going to be released on the 3rd, Wednesday. I think so. The rumor is they're going to go with 2 engine options. The standard one will be the twin turbo 3.5 EcoBoost that it has now, which gives it 450 horsepower, 510 feet of torque. And then if you get the Raptor R, it's going to have the supercharged 5.2 engine out of the Shelby Cobra GT500.
Damn.
And it's rumored to have around like 760 horsepower.
That is a direct. That is.
Oh yeah.
Ford going, hey, yeah, nice Dodge. I see that TRX you have. I'm going to put a Mustang engine in my truck and we'll see what happens. Like that's exactly what that is.
When Ram debuted their TRX, they put that Mr. Sandman song on the background, but it was like from the 50s, like the 50s one. And Ford released a teaser video of but they put Enter Sandman from Metallica. So yeah, dude, they're going after TRX pretty hard.
Oh, that is awesome. That is. I didn't notice that. That is super cool.
Yeah, they're going right at them, dude.
Any indication in the article about pricing?
It's gonna be you're gonna need a second on your house.
It's gonna be super overpriced.
It's gonna be like $90,000,
dude.
I mean, think about it. A fully loaded F-150 right now costs you like $70,000.
Yeah,
which is crazy, dude.
It is ridiculous what trucks are going for. I just, God, I would love to be able to get a Raptor, but there's just no possible way. Like even the even used ones. I'm sure used ones are getting top dollar.
Getting towed around. Oh, never mind.
Oh, Elam, dude, Elam wrecked me. He sent me a video. I think it was an Instagram video that said, "Tell me you have a Ford. Tell me you drive a Ford without telling me you drive a Ford." And have you seen these memes? Tell me you do something without telling me. Tell me you drive a Ford without telling me you drive a Ford. And the next thing is a dude with the video with a camera pointing down at his feet, and he's just walking. I was all, dude, you suck. That's horrible. That's bullshit.
That's good.
It's not good. So, man, with the new Raptor coming out, the Bronco,
Frontier, the Bronco,
I mean,
the Jeep V8, that Wrangler V8's coming out.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a good time to be in off-road.
Yeah, and when you think about the world around us right now, like so many people unemployed and all the stuff going on, like I wonder what kind of impact that's going to have on these vehicle sales and or pricing. Like, it's not like it's 2006 when everybody was able to take out $300,000 of equity in their house and then go buy the Raptor and the fifth wheel to pull. Like that's not the time we're living in. Like where where, you know, this is things are much more frugal right now, and I wonder if the pricing is going to reflect that in these new vehicles.
Yeah, but is it though? I mean, dude, you look at all the industries around us, and they've had some of the best years
yeah,
last
yeah,
year,
I
which
don't
is
know.
crazy.
I don't know. I'm no economic scientist.
Look, I'm no economic advisor here.
But it seems crazy to me that all of these new vehicles are coming out. Vehicle prices are off the charts, and you know, and then there's also a lot of other stuff going on in the world that would make you believe that it's not a good time to buy a vehicle.
Yeah, but that's with everything right now. Like, look at housing prices in SoCal, dude. They just keep going up. Look at like computer hardware. You can't find anything, no matter what the price is, dude. There's nothing's in stock for anything.
Bikes.
And it's just like bikes.
So
there's no mountain bikes in stock.
So we're getting to world economics. Is that a function of the fact that so many components are manufactured overseas and they were impacted by COVID, or is that a function of so is that a supply shortage, or is it a function of we're all cooped up in our houses and don't have a lot going on, so we're spending as much as we can on the things that we want, and so there's a demand increase?
So as far as the computer hardware goes, like I've seen a few the big YouTubers are like, a lot of people started working from home, and you know, they didn't have a PC, or their system wasn't up to par. So these companies, you know, these enterprise companies, they're buying mass hardware, and it's bottlenecking the supplies, you know, for everything. Same thing with mountain bikes. Like, you know, people were stuck at home doing nothing, so they decided to get into a hobby. Mountain biking, you know, has always been there. So it's just, I think the demand is so high in all these areas that the supply can't keep up.
Yeah.
Is that like the whole toilet paper thing too? Like, people started hoarding toilet paper, and so then I couldn't find toilet paper for a while.
Yeah, but even those companies were saying, dude, they were at max production like capacity, and they couldn't keep up with demand.
Yeah, but
that was
all
shit back in the day. Shitting. Nothing better to do.
That was
if I'm bored, I'll sit on a toilet for a while too. You know?
That's the only place to get peace. I saw a meme about that where this guy was saying how he never understood why his dad was in the toilet for so long, and now that he's married with kids, he's like, I totally get it now.
Exactly.
So speaking of the new vehicles and stuff, I'm trying to keep up with some of the KOH stuff. It looks like there is
I'm trying to ignore all the KOH
I've
stuff.
gone back and forth. Yeah, I've gone back and forth, man, where I'm not going to watch anything. I had a break. I had like a 15-minute break, and I just logged on to YouTube this afternoon just to see kind of what was going on. And man, I'm super freaking bummed that we're not there. I really we wouldn't be there right now anyways. We'd be going out this weekend, but I am super freaking bummed that we're not going. And even up to the last, him and Han of whether or not we were going with what's going on here and COVID, I'm not going anywhere. I'm working from home. I worked from home since Tuesday. I'm not going to go back at all this week to quarantine. And
Jose's dying right now. Look, he's got a relapse
again, dude.
So I'm really, really, really bummed that we're not there, but for me, it does not make sense for me to try to go. Even if I looked at, well, what if we went out there for Saturday for the day? Like, I still don't think that's a good idea.
I'm just bummed that we're not out there, and then just being with all the people we met last year, and just talking and just the campfire talk, like all that stuff. That's what I'm missing out on, and then the opportunity to meet new people.
Yeah.
But the race is like secondary to me.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to go hang out with all the people we hung out last year, all those inside jokes that are going around on Instagram right now. But yeah, dude.
Well, and the Kevin Jones Ultra 4 vehicle has our sticker on it. I mean, we legit, Matt and I were there. This is the Lucas races. In 2018, Matt and I were like scheming on how we could get a Trail Chaser sticker on a truck at Lucas races, and here we are, 2021. There's actually a Trail Chaser logo on an Ultra 4 car, and we can't be there.
So
It sucks. The world is a sucky place right now, but
well, we have the Mojave Trail to look forward to. That's just a few months, right? Middle of May, something like that.
yeah. And I kind of think that at some point between now and then there might be an overnighter or something. We got to pull some, a day trip or an overnighter together. I know things have been crazy with my work and everything else going on, but I would like to do that. I would like to, and weather being what it is, it's like Big Bear is getting dumped on with snow. Like my mom keeps sending pictures and it's just getting worse. And she's like, enough already. I'm done with it. It is, it is bad up there.
Do they know any roofers up there with some torches? They can just full blast.
The only thing with that is you'd have to do it. Like if you did that, if you melted all that snow and it was wet, because it's not going to dry, that all of that stuff that you just melted would just turn into ice and you would die. Like we just talked about, you would slip and die. So you'd have to do it. You'd have to melt all that snow and then cover the entire driveway with salt.
Yep.
There you go. Okay. You solved it.
I just thinking out loud. So KOH, we're missing it. It sucks. I'm bummed, but again, I think for me it was the right decision. There's nothing else between now and Mojave as far as events are concerned, is there, that we're aware of?
Not that I know of, no.
All right, then we need to put together something between now and then. So it's beginning of February. We've got all of February, all of March, all of April, and then Mojave is the end of May. Yeah, we got to do something. Casey's birthday's in there in April someplace. Maybe March when it starts to warm up a little bit. End of March, it warms up a little bit. Maybe pull an overnighter.
Jose?
Yeah,
okay.
Man.
Okay.
Dude, I haven't gone out on a trip or trail run in months, dude. So
that's right. Even since like October.
Yeah.
Because you didn't go on the Kessel run.
Nope.
I didn't go either, but but yeah. So even since last summer.
Almost, dude. It's been a while, man.
It sucks. All right. Well, we'll figure something out between now and then. I'm sure we can put something together. Judging by the success of the winter expedition, I'm sure if we put out a call for a overnighter, we'd be able to pull something together.
And don't get me wrong, dude. Like, there's been guys that shot me DMs, like, say we're going wheeling, you should come. It's just timing just hasn't been right, dude.
Yeah,
unfortunate.
That's the thing. It's been with the what's going on in the world and work and everything else, and
there's all the Cobra Kai episodes to get caught up on over the weekend.
I have been watching
WandaVision.
Okay, I'm not caught up on WandaVision. I'm gonna try to catch that tonight. I got the last episode to watch.
Let's just say
no. Blah 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 blah. I don't want to hear it.
You turned it around.
I saw a headline of an article that said something about answering the questions, and I scrolled past it real quick because I didn't want to see anything. No spoilers. And I'm on episode 3 or 4 of Mandalorian. So since Tammy got sick, she's been going to bed super early. So I've been staying up and like working and watching some TV.
Here you are, taking your bicycle out in the back of your, loading it and driving across town to go ride through some mud. You could have been totally caught up on Mandalorian by now.
That was Mandalorian time right there.
Exactly.
No. Dude, so let me tell you about that in a little bit more detail. So you know which area I'm talking about, right, Matt? Down at El Prado Golf Course, and how it dead ends.
I think so.
So I was like, there's got to be a way to get. But looking at the map, there's got to be a way to get from here under the 71. It looked like there was a tunnel, and to the Chino Hills bike riding area. And so I got buried to my ankles in mud, just sloppy, nasty mud. I couldn't get across the river because it had washed out the road so bad. That's why it's all gated off. And so I ended up pedaling back I went onto the golf course and I rode along the edge of the golf course and waited for everybody to play through, and then shot across to a bridge, crossed the bridge, and then back over to the edge, and then went further. And I ended up in this, like, I don't even know, like they were planting bushes, planting trees, and I went through this tunnel and I pop out on the other side in Chino Hills, where like all these beautiful houses were and these trails and everything. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Oh shit, I got to write all that stuff back. I got to get back through that mud. I can't go around. Like there was no other way to get back.
Again, you're just tempting fate. It's not, just riding on dry concrete or whatever is a challenge for you. But no, now let's go. Let's throw some mud in there. I mean, it's just a matter of time, dude. Just can you shop for hips now? Maybe put a little money down. Some advanced financing.
He sent me a text when he was in that expedition, and he's like, "I found a trail. It wasn't a good idea."
Yeah,
it was a picture of just mud in his bike.
It was, and I had just cleaned the bike the day before, which I don't know why I did, and then made the decision to do this. And dude, oh man, it was gnarly, caked up mud trying to get it off, but it was fun. I mean, I had a good time, and it was, I'll do it again in a different area next. But I did.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like you've already pulled the pin, and now the grenade is in your hand.
Don't
cook it.
Dude, it's like the way you talk about it. It's like, what happened to that pin? You can't put it back. It's just ticking right here,
dude. It's
like you trying to ride in mud with a grenade that you've pulled the pin already, and you're just going through with one hand.
He has one more punch in his surgery punch card to get the next one free.
Yeah. I have come to the decision that I'm just fragile. You guys have joked around about being Mr. Glass. I am just a fragile person, which is insane because when I was younger, like I would jump off roofs and bounce, and like I was indestructible. And I think I did so many stupid things when I was younger that I like made everything frail, and now I'm just a fragile person. Yeah, Jared is saying that I've got a budget for injuries. No joke. There was a period of time where we were saving for surgeries.
You should be Canadian because it's like free healthcare up there, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times you break your leg.
Dude, tell me about it.
Nice.
But
Crystal Cody.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm not going out sitting on the recliner. I'm gonna keep doing it.
Dude, get yourself a real nice recliner like I got. And you know what? Cobra Kai, I can either go out and do some yard work or continue watching Cobra. What is the Joey Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso? What's going on with those guys 30 plus years later? My recliner's nice and cozy. I'm gonna find out for sure.
No, I'm gonna pedal. I'm gonna force myself to keep pedaling. And I've been listening to audiobooks when I ride, and it makes me want to just keep listening to the book and writing. So more mountain bike talk to come, I'm certain. We need to Jose, we need to go hit Chino Hills. We need to go hit some of those trails over there.
Yeah, for sure.
What else? I think Joe K upgraded. I don't know if you guys saw his Instagram. He got his lift and tires and all dialed in on the Jeep. So it'll be that much harder for him to get it wet because he's a couple inches taller. So, anything else? What else is going on?
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Just working and thinking about four-wheeling, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, Jose, didn't you do? Oh, we already talked about it. We already talked about your spare tire carrier, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Any issues with that?
Nope. So far, so good.
All right. Any? Do you know if we got any reviews lately?
Let me check real quick.
We haven't looked at that in a while.
I checked last week. We didn't have anything. Nope, nothing new.
Okay, well, screw you guys.
Hey, but we're 3 away from hitting 1,000 on YouTube.
Oh, really?
It's like, yeah, we're 3 away. We're at 997 right now.
All right, come on.
Wow.
Three of you, please just go subscribe. Even if you don't watch anything, just go subscribe, please.
Tell your friend it's like for charity or something. Like, can you just go follow this
just
guy?
grab your
Just
grab your
YouTube.
friend's phone and do it. Go grab your wife's phone or your husband's phone or your friend's phone or your friend's wife's phone and just like subscribe.
Tim, go get your husband's phone.
Tim, yeah. Tim needs to have 3 more kids so that we can get 3 more subscribers on YouTube.
Tim, go have some kids. Go get a nice family plan from Verizon. 1, 2, 3, real quick.
Yeah,
Get the 2-dad family plan.
Oh man.
Yeah, Tim
Don't
and
tempt
Ela
me.
are gonna go unsubscribe. That's cool. All right, guys. Well, I thanks to Jared for joining us today. That was a good conversation. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight in the chat room. We appreciate it. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not doing it already, so that we can get to 1,000. I don't even know
What happens then?
I don't know.
I can retire?
Yes.
Does that mean I can retire?
Yes. Anybody with 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, that's what they do for their full-time job now. That's
Yeah.
No. I didn't say job. I just said retire. Like, I don't want to do shit. I just want to kick it in my recliner.
Oh, have you
Is
seen
that what happens?
No, that does not what happens. Have you seen God, there's a TV show on like TBS called like Hurt Factor or damn it. And it's a whole TV show of people watching videos.
About you?
Yeah. There's a whole TV show of people watching YouTube videos of people doing stupid things, and then they just tell jokes and cap on them. And I was like, how do we not have that TV show? How do we not already do that?
Have that job, dude.
Why can't people just make fun of us? Like, just
They do.
That
Well, they
counts.
make fun of me
They do.
in the chat room the whole time.
But I mean, someone sit there, watch our channel, and then make fun of us. Like, it still counts as people watching our channel.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. All right, guys, we're going to end the live feed. Thank you to everybody that showed up and is hanging out with us, and we will see you next week.
Later.
All right. I saw, let's see, John G, Perry, Tim, Elam, Jared, Joe K. Casey was in there earlier. I don't know if he still is. Yeah, it looks like he still is. Yeah, good group tonight, guys. Mark was in there for a little bit. Adam Shanley. Let's see. Looks like there was a bunch of people in here earlier. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining the chat room. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you guys later.
Thanks, guys.